For 33 years, the In the Company of Women Awards has recognized and celebrated exemplary women leaders who work hard to make Miami-Dade County better and stronger, each in their own special ways. All of our winners have worked hard and given back to our community. They are successful businesswomen.
When I think of my success and how I got where I am today, I first go back to the many mentors, coaches, role models that I had throughout my career. And even growing up, I know I wouldn't be here today without the support of them and always being behind me. When I was young, I knew I wanted to work very hard at something and do something that I really loved doing. For me, that work ethic started at home, looking at my parents working hard, raising a family, and creating opportunities for us. Here, ever since joining the professional workforce, I've been fortunate to have a lot of opportunities, and I've always tried to take every opportunity that was presented to me. I think for me, being a hard worker, really wanting to dig into challenges, not being afraid of a challenge has been something that's led to my success, and I've been fortunate to be presented with some exciting challenges along my career. I never dreamed that I'd be in professional sports or that this was an opportunity for me. I was very fortunate to end up with the Miami Marlins and end up here in Miami. And I think that it is my merits and my hard work that got me here, but also a lot of supporters and mentors along the way. So I've always been big on watching others and learning from them. And I think, as a senior executive, for me, it's about creating, that opportunity for others to see me and see that, it's possible for women to be executives in sports franchises as well.
I think one of the most powerful things that an individual can do is embrace what I call portability. The ability to move anywhere at any time and to be mobile in that way. And it's made a big difference in my life. And I think, to be honest with you, I think parts taught me that. You start your day with a beautiful sunny sky, and then the rain clouds show up. How can you pivot? And so I think portability and the ability to pivot is pretty important. I've been asked about a pivotal moment in my career. And what I would tell you is it's probably something that's been coined the retire, rewire, rehire. I spent 26 years with AT&T, retired, spent a year doing some great nonprofit work in the community, and then ended up with another 15, almost 16 years with Florida Blue. So again, the ability to pivot, retire, rewire, rehire.
I credit my success to my ability to leverage my difference and strength to stand out in every opportunity. Being a woman in a male-dominated industry like financial industry, I often find myself as the only woman in the room. Instead trying to blend in, I try to stand out by highlighting the difference, providing different opinions, and adding value in different ways. The defining moment in my career is when I was made the managing general partner of Field Venture Capital. It's happened after only 2 years joining the firm as an analyst, and I became the youngest general partners and the only female general partners. As an immigrant who came to the U.S. at a very early stage, it's important for me to work hard and to be acknowledged, and also to leverage my success to help others. So with this position, I allocate my time to join a lot of podcasts, global conference, local communities, so that I can promote diversity and inclusion and also encourage other women to reach their full potential.
They are experts in arts and communication.
I credit my success to a lot of things. 1, hard work. 2, people who have supported me in achieving my dreams throughout my life, and my own commitment to the job. I think one of the defining moments in my career was being brought onto the editorial board by the late Jim Hampton. And he was just an editorial page editor extraordinaire. And the fact that he believed in me, I was a baby editor in the newsroom without any thought of moving to the editorial board, which is a significant position. I think at this stage of the game, both in my career and in my life, my personal life, I think the question should be, what and who keeps me going? And I have just through the years surrounded myself with wonderful, inspirational women and men too, who themselves model the behavior, model the values and the principles that reflect me?
I believe that my success is basically through hard work and dedication to what I do, a love of what I do, and that this is not really a job for me, it's more of a calling. I feel that the young people that I work with are generally enhanced through our mission, and they benefit greatly in their careers and life skills. I think the development of music adds to every student's education because they learn self-discipline, they learn creativity, they learn how to deal with others, they learn how to be self-expressive, they learn public speaking and public performance. It's just a whole student education, a whole person development, and it manifests itself because many of our top students that were like the principal violins and everything have gone on to engineering, aerospace, administrative duties in the public school systems. They just go on to very important and progressive careers that may not involve the actual playing of their musical instrument, but many of them do continue playing as well.
They empower our communities.
The defining moment in my career was when I joined Miami-Dade County in 2015 from the private sector. I had worked several years in the private sector before I joined Miami-Dade County, and joining at a senior level, I was able to come and share ideas and solutions to problems. Because when you work in the private sector, typically you are the consultant for that government agency that's just building or designing what they tell you to do. And now at the county, I'm able to bring those solutions to the table and tell them what we should do. We can, you could be innovative, you can come up with many different solutions that you are part of that change. And we touch the lives of many in the government platform, our 3 million of our residents. And I think that that's what's so important on my career, because I've been able to instill that change. Policy is something else that we've been able to do at the government level, which is set policies which maybe make changes to outdated laws or codes that maybe don't exist anymore, that fit more the lives of today and our future generations.
I think I was in my 40s when I decided to pivot from working in the private sector to becoming the director of the Peace Corps in Belize. And that gave me an opportunity firsthand to learn the importance of making sure you're lifting people out of poverty. And that has meant so much to me in my work in Miami-Dade County, because we do have two big problems here. We need to grow our economy, we need to make sure it's vibrant. I, of course, had a 20-year business career doing that, so I understand the importance of that. But here we know that there are people that struggle every single day to make ends meet, to pay the rent. My work at the Peace Corps helped prepare me to make sure that we're not just growing the top end of the economy, but that we're also not leaving everybody else behind while we're doing that.
I've been incredibly lucky over my career to have obtained some reasonable success within our community, and I would be remiss to not credit it to so many of the extraordinary supervisors that I've had over the course of my career. People who invested in me and got to know me and understood what it was that I needed to grow, to thrive, and offered me that space to grow and be successful in this community. Without them, I'm not sure that I would be where I am today. I was 20 years old, fresh out of college. I was working my first job, and I traveled with our executive team at the time to Tallahassee for a meeting with the Secretary of DEP. And I remember walking into this big conference room with a big conference table, and our CEO, our general counsel, our lobbying team were all there. And as I entered, I made a point to put my things down in the back of the room in a chair that was not at the table. And I'll never forget that our lobbyist, Nick Rossi, looked at me and he said, "Lauren, what are you doing? You sit with us." And he figuratively and literally made sure that I had a seat at the table, and that was a moment that I have carried with me throughout my entire career, because I really believe if we're not making room for others at the table, then we're not ensuring success for our community.
I pay homage, I think, most impactfully to my lineage.
my culture, the way that I have been brought up and taught to work. You know, when you come from a lineage of immigrant Caribbean women, when you think of the journeys of all those people that made who you are possible. You know, your teachers who were strict and your parents who worked really hard, and my mother who took the risk to leave everything behind and come to the United States. Immigrants are risk takers, and we grow up in a place where little has to become a lot. So I have a deep-seated responsibility to not waste the gifts that I have been given. And that's a call to serve, and a responsibility that I feel is deeply rooted in my culture and my lineage. Well, if I were to say a moment where I felt like preparation met the moment in time that was necessary for me to show up, it would be in 2020, the response to the murder of George Floyd. And in that moment when we were all in a tailspin, when our world was in a tailspin, YWCA put forward the 21-day Racial Equity and Social Justice Challenge. And in that time when everyone was seeking discord and seeking answers and wanting to learn more and wanting to connect and wanting to say, I believe, I see you, I want to be better, we want to be better, and trying to find a place to make that land. I think it was critical and pivotal, and the moment that we have been preparing for, and I had been preparing for, to be able to offer that opportunity for a collective learning experience that was as big as it was in the moment that it was needed.
They are leaders in science and health.
Well, I was always interested in human genetics. I became interested in it when I was in college, where, you know, I don't know, it might have been I'm from an Italian Sicilian family where family's very important, so I thought about inheritance and families and how families are put together. Then I found out you could look at it in terms of human genetics, and I thought, well, this is really fascinating. I could spend my life doing this, you know, and I could spend my life doing it, and it could really make a difference in other people's lives. So I think that's why, you know, it grabbed my attention, and then I got involved in looking at neurological disorders that had a genetic underpinning, and that kind of like, I was sold. I never looked back. I credit my success in trying to do my best at anything I undertake. I don't always end up being the best at it, but I know I try to do my best. I think that has carried me through the many obstacles and the many challenges I've had in life.
So for me, the most pivotal moment in my career came just recently. I joined the Health Foundation of South Florida in 2021. We all know what's been happening with the pandemic. And at that point, we were on the dawn of vaccines, which for us felt like just the solution to the problem. But we know that that's not how it played out. So for the Health Foundation, who has always been about the health and well-being of the community, particularly supporting vulnerable populations, we realized that something different, right? At that point, vaccines weren't accessible to all. And there was a level of distrust in the communities who most needed it. And so for the Health Foundation, we sat down and we understood that we needed to go door to door, that we needed trusted messengers who the people in those communities trusted to get their advice from. Doctors, nurses, pastors, literally the Health Foundation used our resources and really brought together people in the community that just stood up. And I'm really proud of the work that the foundation did. For me, that was pivotal because I was able to see sort of all of the different groups that can really come together when we need to, which I think is a really special thing about Miami. That's what makes Miami special. People really come together to help their neighbors, and for me, that's going to stick with me forever.
They are educators.
You know, I have been successful way beyond my imagination. I was born and raised in Port of Spain, Trinidad, a little island girl with sort of a passion for nature and being barefoot in the streets. And when I look at how far I have come and what I have done, I would say that my personality has been allowed to blossom and grow with me through this path of education and outreach that I am now undertaking. So I think bubbling up in me is always a person who really wanted to make change, and this path that I'm on allowed me to do that. The defining moment of my career probably came in 2002 when I was reading a magazine story. I was trying to create a program to engage disengaged teenagers in environmental issues. And the magazine article started with a quote from Jane Goodall that said, "The greatest danger to our future is apathy." And she was talking about the environment, of course, because she's an environmentalist. And that was my wake-up call. That was my aha moment to say, you know what? I'm going to take on apathy. I'm going to wake up these people. There's so many sleeping giants, young and old, that if we gave them an opportunity and believed in them, that maybe we can combat apathy. And then the other inspiration for me as an educator, high school science teacher, school principal, is that my definition of education, ideally, comes from William Butler Yeats, who said, "Education is not the filling of a pail, it's the lighting of a fire." So between Jane Goodall calling me to action to combat apathy and my belief that Yeats was right, that you cannot just look at education as filling pails. You have to do some of that, but you have to inspire, you have to light fires in other people. And those two things, Jane Goodall and William Butler Yeats, really inspired me to continue growing in the direction I had chosen for myself.
These ideal women are all going above and beyond to make our community a better place to live, work, and learn. It is an honor to be in the company of women.